everyone, in this video tutorial, we will begin talking about marketing, which is our new lesson beginning. So marketing is a very big chunk of the CSEC syllabus, and we will get by piece, and the video tutorial will be broken up into parts. So this is just part one. So stay tuned. So when we start with marketing, the first thing we need to differentiate is marketing, the two concepts, market and marketing. Now, a market, as you will see in module 1 of POV, a market is any space within which trade takes place between buyers and sellers. Remember, in module 1, we define a market as a place where buyers and sellers meet to exchange. This space can be a produce market, a shop international between countries or over the internet. For example, if I go to the salmon market and I buy a pound of potatoes, this is an instant where trading takes place. I pay money for my potatoes. Similarly, if I go online and shop on Amazon market, this is a digital platform of a market. I pay money through my credit card and I purchase a product. Now, this is what in essence is a market. But marketing now is all those activities that facilitate trade. These include activities that identify consumers' need, such as market research, those activities that satisfy consumers' needs, for example, packaging and distribution. So how a product goes to the actual shelf involves marketing. Marketing activities therefore support the marketing of goods and services. So for example, milk is made at the Nestle factory, okay? Now this milk don't just end up from the factory to the consumer just like that. In order for the product to get exposure, the company has to do marketing, which is advertising, promotion, discounts and sales, and more importantly, personal branding. Packaging is very important to the product because depending on the type of product, packaging needs to be suitable. Recall long ago, milk cartons used to just come sealed and we usually cut the side to open to pour milk out, right? That was a long ago package. Now there's a new way of packaging milk where they have a screw top and we're able to pour milk out and screw it back on and put it in the fridge. So this is all part of marketing, the techniques, the strategies in terms of selling a product and in terms, in the long run, setting a price and making a profit. So the Institute of Marketing definition of marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying consumers' requirements, profitability. So now we just need to digest this definition of market and marketing, and it's pretty straightforward. Now we talk about marketing activities. And marketing activities include all these activities that you see here on my screen. You see here packaging, creating a suitable package for product usage and for advertising. For example, the milk I just spoke about. Branding, differentiating the product of a company from other brands and establishing loyal customers. For example, using logos, slogans, and designs. I can tell apart, for example, KFC from Royal Castle because they differentiate based on their logo and their advertisement. Pricing is also very important on the marketing. Identifying the right price that will encourage sales. So we don't want to sell this carton of milk that is worth $15 for $100. That will be exploiting the customer, and not to mention sales will obviously be low. We now move on to advertising. Advertising uses methods such as the media to inform and encourage the purchase of goods and services. So for example, a new product hits the shelf. Consumers won't know that this new product hit the shelf without advertising. We usually see it on throughout local television, cable television, we see products and we tend to go research it and then buy it. Sales promotion is another aspect of marketing, and it is short-term method used to encourage consumers to buy during a specific period. So sales promotion techniques would be those people that give samples in the supermarket. If you go PriceMart, you'll see them in the little tables giving out little samples in cups. And you'll take it if it tastes good, you might want to buy it so you could try it at home and all these different things. Distribution, however, is something different and is basically the method used to make the product available to the customers. For example, we have wholesale, retail, or the internet. Wholesale is where items are sold in bulk. Retail is where items are sold singly, and usually the retailer buys from the wholesaler who buys from the producer. And internet is where we can either wholesale or retail, we're just using a digital platform without having an actual space. Now, when we think about wholesalers, think about buying directly from a factory. You can think about PriceMart again. PriceMart do not sell single products unless it's like a big item or an expensive item. And we're talking about household goods such as peas and carrots and corn and even soy sauce. They sell them in packets of 12, 6, and 3, nothing less. However, if I go to a shop, in the shop down the road, I will get corn, I might get one carrot at a vegetable stall, and this is retailing. So one thing we must understand in marketing is something called the marketing mix, which is in essence the 4 P's of marketing. It's basically an acronym to help you get the notion in your mind. So the marketing mix also refers to the 4 P's of marketing, categorizes all various strategies used in marketing of goods and services. So the strategies that we use to get a good to the consumer, for the consumer to see the goods and so forth. These categories are product, promotion, price, and place. The 4 P's. The purpose of the marketing mix is to create perceived value for customer or the target market. So the purpose of the marketing mix in general is to create something that the customers will deem as valuable. So for example, we have the 4 P's here. We have the first one, product. This includes product designing, packaging, labeling, and branding. It does not include the production. This is marketing happens after the production. So when we speak about the product, it's how we design it, how we package it, how we label it, and how we brand it. And we have to get involved into these separately as our lesson continues. Next, we have promotion, and promotion is basically advertising, public relations, and sales promotion. Pricing now is the 3rd P of the marketing mix, and it includes various pricing strategies and methods. So we may set discounted prices to lure the customers to buy the product. We can set low prices to encourage people of all classes to buy. We can set prices to ensure that our product stays valuable, right? We don't want to lower price. For example, the price of gold tend to not ever be low, it tends to always increase. The price of land, right? These things don't really drop in our market, but the price, if I sell something less than what it is worth, it tends to devalue the product. Now we have place. And place is where we distribute the product, whether it be a warehouse. For example, Amazon. We know Amazon to be this big company in the US that we could get anything from online. But did you know that Amazon operates from warehouses? There's no physical building where people can go shop. It's actually the convenience centers, they call it. And there are huge warehouses where everything that people sell on Amazon's platform, usually is stored there and it goes out to delivery. Now, Amazon is just a big warehouse. It's not even a nice looking warehouse. It's just a huge concrete structure where they store all the goods. And the goods are classified, obviously. They are produce, they are clothes, they are technology, and there are different warehouses. And they tend to locate a warehouse in every district, that in every county or state, so that products can reach a customer in no time. That's the essence. In essence, that is the value of living in the United States. You get the product same day. When we order from Amazon, it reached our shipping address within 2 days, 1 day or less, same day, if we pay for the same day shipping, and we usually get it in a week because we are another country. But this is how place in terms of marketing is of essence. So this was the 4 P's of marketing, very simple to understand. So in order to get the whole concept and idea of marketing down, and in order to be successful with it, we must do market research. Market research is the gathering, recording, and analyzing of data to address the market problems of a business. Market research must be specific to the problem of a business. The marketing problem must therefore be clearly identified so that the appropriate market research may be conducted. For example, I want to sell a product in the market, but I'm unsure of who will buy this product. My problem is I don't know who is going to buy this product. So I need to find out more about customers. I will do consumer research. And this garners information on consumers' feelings, thoughts, and reaction towards a company's goods or service. So before I actually make a million pieces, I might just use one and go around and research potential customers. Say, would you buy this product? Yes or no? Why wouldn't you buy this product? And based on that, I will redesign my product and have a product that will be acceptable and more valuable to the consumer. I can also do product research. So product research determines customer acceptance of the product, whether it may be changes in an existing product or a new product, right? So sometimes when we have an existing product, we tend to do research to ask consumer feedback on the product, okay? Let's say, for example, you buy a certain technology item, let's say a printer, and it's very expensive for what it is, and you basically have to refill cartridge if you're an everyday user, like twice per month. Now, this tends to turn customers away when they have to spend more than they actually pay for something to get it working. So the company, for example, let's say Brother, because they are a huge company that makes a lot of printers. Let's say they do product research, and one of the things they realize is the ink cartridges were too small and people were not getting the yield that they're paying for. Then they can revamp their product to suit the customer's needs. So then now we have a lot of eco-friendly, we have a lot of consumer-friendly printers. We get it for less than 500, and ink is also less than 100. Distribution research is another type of market research, and it is used to identify the most suitable channel of distribution for a particular product based on effectiveness of those channels. For example, if I have, let's go back to my milk. So at Nestle, they do wholesale as well as retail. So they need to find the best channel to get the milk out to the customers, and they tend to use supermarkets and convenience stores, right? If they just decide to sell milk anywhere, it will just be too saturated, and but putting it at an outlet where people usually buy groceries is a good idea. The next type of market research is advertising research, and this identifies the most suitable media to present the advertising message. So for example, if I am selling a new energy drink, I wouldn't print a picture and put it in a newspaper. I might make a catchy commercial with a nice jingle, a slogan, and highlight all the benefits of it, and air this particular advertisement on primetime news time, or I can do it on social media, whichever one that it reaches the most. We tend to advertise based on suitability, right? If I want to advertise a product for old people, a lot of old people is not in social media or watch daytime television per se. They tend to look at the news more particularly. So I might want to advertise where the news during the news sessions where I know for sure the customers will see. Then we have sales research. Sales research on the target market example, size of market, potential age, sex, income, and geographic variables is important. So let's go back to my milk. The target market for milk might be anybody because regardless of age, we buy milk. Regardless of sex, we buy milk, and milk is something even low income and high income households need to have. So it is considered a necessity, right? So the sales research for target market for milk is pretty straightforward. But if I want to sell energy drinks, but not the ones that are dangerous to health, and my potential targets might be people who does strenuous jobs, athletes, people working long hours, and so forth. So the sales research tends that audience that you want to capture for your product. So when we do market research, we usually follow 5 steps. The first step is to identify the problem. The second step is to develop information sources. So whether we get our information via questionnaires, whether we do our research, whatever the platform is, we need to ensure that we get our sources. Then we need to collect the information, and we use these tools to do so. We analyze the data by using charts and graphs, and we present our findings to come up with a logical solution to this problem. So this is the 5-step of the market research process: identifying the problem, developing information, collecting the information, analyzing the data, and presenting the finding. This is similar to a project, but 5 basic steps that you need to know for your exam. So we have reasons now for conducting market research. And remember, market research provides managers with current, relevant, accurate, and reliable information concerning competitors, advertisers, distribution, potential, and loyal customers. This market research information will assist managers in making key decisions about packaging, product design, pricing, distribution, and what if I want to come up with a new product and the market is already so saturated that it is very hard to make a profit? I will get sales, but it wouldn't be a high sale. This is why market research is important, right? So we have various reasons for conducting market research. The first reason is consumer taste. And this is identification of consumer tastes will enable the firm to produce goods and services that will cater to the preferences of the consumer. Example, Cadbury assortment of chocolates. Next, we have competition. So identification of competing firms will allow the firm to adjust marketing strategy to gain a market advantage. And there's something that you will learn eventually in your years of maybe studying business, something called competitive advantage, which a man called Michael Porter came up with. Competitive advantage is basically how you gain your competitive edge to stay above the market, right? So a strategy that most consumers do, and I do, for example, when I sell something, I tend to sell it at a lower rate compared to most people, because I know price is a major factor governing a consumer's choice, right? A lot of people do not buy stuff that is overpriced. They do not pay for services that is overpriced, especially when they can get the same or even better at a lower price. This is one competition strategy. Another competition strategy might be giving more for the same cost or redesigning the product to have a different approach, and so forth. We have to do competition when it comes to marketing in more detail. And here's where you will learn how to lower your pricing strategies, or how your price strategy will affect your sales. Consumer behavior is another reason for conducting market research. Research on consumer behavior will allow the firm to adjust their products and services to changes in the factors that influence behavior. For example, consumption of fish during Lent, the Lenten season. So when we talk about the Lenten season, you'll find KFC, you'll see Royal Castle, you'll see all those restaurants promoting their fish, their dishes that are made of fish, because around this time, fish is highly consumed, right? Around carnival time, we see packaging of a lot of stuff in convenience, because when people on the road or people wearing masks, they don't want to hold big things. They want like a convenient thing that they can just throw away after. So consumer behavior is very important when conducting market research, because it influences or it give you intel then about the consumer, which is important for sales. Have the factors that will influence consumer behavior. So the following factors will cause consumers to either increase or decrease their demand of the product. The first one is the price of a commodity. Consumers can afford to buy more of a good when its price falls and less when the price rises. The prices of other goods and services are known as substitutes and complements. So substitute products are those that can be used alternatively as they satisfy the same need for a consumer, and they are usually cheaper. For example, there is Cadbury chocolate in the market, and that's usually expensive, but I can get a cheaper brand of chocolate that maybe was imported from another country, and it satisfies the same need. We have another example here. For example, a weekly shopper may decide to purchase fish instead of chicken because the price of fish has fallen significantly less than the price of the chicken. Therefore, fish or chicken will be adequate for dinner. If by the next week the price of fish rises and becomes more expensive than the chicken, the consumer will opt for chicken. So we always look at the substitute pricing, right? There are different brands of everything, and usually some brands are known as substitute to the original good that you would know of, and people tend to buy substitutes now. So complements are goods that are used together, for example, bread and butter. If the price of butter rises, then its demand will fall, and so will the demand for bread. Conversely, if the price of butter falls, its demand will rise, and so too will demand for bread. So they're saying, not always people would eat bread and butter, but they're saying if butter is cheap, people might buy, and because they buy the butter, they might buy bread. Or if bread is cheap and the price of butter falls, then they would want to buy both, just to make a simple dish, maybe breakfast. So we have substitute products and complement products, and always the price of goods determine the consumer behavior. The income of consumer is also another factor that influences their behavior. People who make more money tend to spend more, and people who make just above minimum may tend to reserve and settle for the substitute goods and try to use what they have and make do with what they have. Taste and preferences. Consumers' taste and preferences is also a factor determining their behavior. So a change in consumer taste for goods and services will impact their demand. For example, changes in fashion will result in a drastic decline in demand for an outgoing fashion and a rise in demand for what is trendy. So people tend to buy what is trending, what is in fashion, what is a fad, right? And when the popularity dies, the sale of the product usually drops. Another factor that determines consumers' behavior is quality. A consumer's main motivation for the purchase of a product may be the quality of the product rather than the price. So there are a lot of people who would buy Apple products, for example, even though the price is triple the price of a regular brand such as Samsung, because of the quality of the product. They have expectation of a future rise in price. So if consumers expect the price of a commodity to rise in the near future, they will try to purchase more now before the price increases. For example, if there's a big sale and we know the price for maybe baby milk, for example, something that is expensive. is relatively low now, but I know in time it might be scarce or it might be high priced. I will buy maybe by the cases. Brand loyalty is another factor that influences consumer behavior. Brand loyalty will ensure a continuous demand for a product regardless of changes in its price. So there are people who believe in drinking like certain brands of coffee, even though the price may go up a bit, they will still purchase it because they are loyal to this particular brand. Let's say Nescafe, right? Spending patterns is another factor that influence consumer behavior. Consumer spending survey compile information on consumer spending level. It informs businesses of what goods and services are in demand. So people spend more again when they have money. And then another factor is the changes in the size of the population. A population decline will demand to fall in a particular region. So a population decline means there are less people to buy, so demand will drop. So when we talk about marketing, we always have to bear in consideration demand and supply. And we have to get involved with these two later. So we'll just leave it there. Demand and supply. One reason for population decline in a region is migration. So people leaving a country will obviously not going to be using the goods and services offered. So this can also influence a consumer's behavior. So something that we need to move on to besides the whole marketing idea, we need to look at the structures of market, and this will determine how products are distributed, how items are sold, why it is priced this way, and so forth. So the term market structure refers to the level of competition experienced by businesses in an industry. This factor determines the nature of products sold, how easy it is for new business to enter under the industry, and the amount of information available concerning that industry. So the market structure will determine how much profits are made, how a product is distributed, how it is sold, how it is designed, and the competition. So the first market structure we have is monopoly. A monopoly exists when only one supplier has control over an entire market for a particular good or service. So one person dominates the entire market for a product. Examples of monopolies in the Caribbean countries are single electricity and water suppliers, which may be owned by the government or a private company. So in Trinidad, right here, we have TNTech. TNTech is known as a monopoly in terms of supply of electricity to households. There's no other company doing that. Same thing with WASA. The monopolist sells a product for which there is no close substitutes. The monopolist controls the market because it is difficult for other firms to enter such industries. The challenges include high startup costs and difficulty in obtaining strategic raw materials or information regarding business operation. The monopolist has great market power and can therefore set the price of product and set the prices of products sold in the market. So you will find changes in your electricity bill. We can't control that because there's no competition then. So if one day we get an electricity bill of $4,000, we're gonna have to pay it because at the end of the day, we have no choice. This is the only supplier to a service that we need. So this is what we term monopoly, someone or a company or business that dominates the market. We move on now to oligopoly. Oligopoly describes a market structure in which there are a few large firms. They offer the same product for sales and compete aggressively for market dominance. So examples of firms in this market will be telecommunication and petroleum companies. So let's look at the internet service providers in Trinidad. I think this is oligopoly. We have Flow, we have Airlink, we have Digicel, we have Massy, right? And they are all competing for the same thing, people to take internet from them. And obviously different factors will determine a person's role and why they choose a certain company, right? Entry into this industry is also difficult and startup costs are very high. There's control of strategic raw materials and information not easily available. So to own a telecommunications company, you need to be resourceful. right? The cable alone to set is millions of dollars, and you need to sign on to agreements that abide to the telecommunications authority and so forth. So now another structure is perfect competition, and this rarely exists, but this market structure is characterized by many buyers and many sellers of a product. The product is not unique and it is available from many sellers. Firms in this market structure are price takers as they cannot sell above the price of their competitors. Firms must accept the market's prices as they are and several competitors. There is few knowledge about the business and there are no barriers of high startup costs and control of strategic materials. So perfect competition do exist, but it's not perfect. It's very ugly if you think about it. With the amount of people selling the same thing and competing for price, you go one place, you get $5 off and somebody will buy it rather than looking at the factors that outweigh, okay? The last one is monopolistic competition. Similar to perfect competition, this market structure involves many sellers. However, this market structure differs from perfect competition in that each firm sells a branded product. Firms in the market structure are monopolistic for their brand. There is freedom of entry and exit into the industries as there are no barriers such as strategic raw material, very high startup costs, and lack of information. So there are many sellers, but the branding here is very important. So monopolistic competition is also based on brand. There are people who would rather buy Kiss bread rather than buy the bakery bread, even though they are all competing because Kiss market their brand. We know Kiss bread for sure. We get in what we want all the time. So this is just the structures of marketing, and we have monopoly, oligopoly, perfect competition, and monopolistic competition. And I would encourage you to pause this video and take the relevant notes and also go into your textbook and do further reading. Okay, it will help you to always read the textbook as well and clean up explanations. So this takes me to the end of part 1 of our lesson in marketing. We still have a lot more to do, but this is just the first step. I would encourage you to pause the video and take good notes as you can, as the best notes as you can, and complete any exercises that will be posted. Now, these will be reviewed in class, but I really thought that you can take your notes before class rather than wasting time in class to take notes. So hence the reason for a pre-recorded session. So thank you so much for viewing this video tutorial on our introduction and startup of marketing.